So welcome, everybody. I'm Donna Riley, the Kamyar Haghighi Head of the School of Engineering Education, and I want to welcome all of you to our anniversary panel luncheon sponsored by the College of Engineering. A special welcome to our interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary engineering alumni celebrating their golden anniversary. Woohoo! And many of you are in this room, and many more of you are watching online from all over the world. So greetings to you that are watching from a distance. And for those of you in the room, would you please stand if you're able to be recognized? Any IDE alumni? Stand up. MDE alumni, stand up. Yes, you too, Paige. Okay, so today we recognize many milestones, one being Purdue University's 150 years of Giant Leaps anniversary, with celebrations that launched last September and have continued throughout the past year with many events, including distinguished lecturers that have covered important topics around space exploration, artificial intelligence, health and longevity, and a sustainable economy and planet. Each of those talks has been answering a call of what if? What if what we innovate today will create a sustainable tomorrow, for example? Or what if artificial intelligence can help tackle critical issues such as poverty and disease? What if we can reach beyond our own social neighborhood? So as Purdue celebrated the 50th anniversary of the moon landing this past July, marking the famous first steps made by Purdue engineering alumnus Neil Armstrong, our own IDE alumnus Gary Horlocker, a NASA flight director, is on an exploration team that will take the first steps back to the moon in 2024. And the intention is that that 2024 mission will in turn serve as the launch pad to future missions to Mars. What ifs will NASA, along with the many Purdue alumni working on this mission, and the next one, and the next one, be able to answer? Today, we celebrate the achievements of our own community, resulting from decades of what-if questions around the topic of engineering education. In the early 1950s, Dean Hawkins asked, how do we best prepare incoming engineering freshmen for a future that we now know in hindsight, facing new challenges and drawing upon diverse sets of skills, educational backgrounds, and geographic cultural differences for Purdue students? Answering that question led to the formation of the first ever Department of Freshman Engineering in 1954, which is now known as first-year engineering and housed in the School of Engineering Education. We will hear on the panel today from Dr. Richard Grace, who worked under Dr. Albert Spalding, the founding head of freshman engineering. Another what-if question was answered a decade later in the midst of the Vietnam War, when much of the country was questioning the military-industrial complex. Colleges of engineering, including our own, experienced a 50% drop in enrollment. The famous Grinter report and the follow-up Goals of Engineering Education report from the American Society for Engineering Education positioned Purdue to continue to lead the innovation of engineering education based on scholarship and research. With the Goals report specifically, Purdue played a key role in recommending a new, innovative direction that engineering education needed to take to meet the demands of the future. Dr. Grace answered the call of what if undergraduate students could design their own engineering degree, similar to that of a graduate student, crossing the boundaries of engineering and other areas of study. The Division of Interdisciplinary Engineering Studies was approved on September 1st, 1969, with Dr. Grace leading the charge to increase enrollment and sequentially serving as an incubator for new emerging engineering fields like biomedical engineering and environmental and ecological engineering, now full-fledged academic units in the College of Engineering. And tradition shows that this unique degree program, now 50 years old, isn't just about practicing engineering. Today in this room, we have almost as many attorneys who studied pre-law as an IDE student as we do engineering alumni. Attorneys in the room? Attorneys, woohoo! We have surgeons and doctors practicing medicine who all learned the engineering design process for their education foundation before entering their professional education. And as if that wasn't enough of an answer, panelists Dr. Phil Wonkat and Dr. Mary Pilot, our previous and current director of our undergraduate programs, launched and then grew our accredited program of multidisciplinary engineering with new and innovative concentrations, furthering the boundaries of engineering fields into areas like theater engineering, humanitarian engineering, lighting engineering, and visual design engineering. Still today, acoustical engineering remains a steadfast field of interest with our largest number of alumni represented, including our first acoustical engineer alumnus, David Schwind, who is here with us today. Self-designed concentrations are still a resonating choice for students, with 2 alumnae nationally recognized while students in the program. Paige Rudin, a 2019 alumna who is here today with her mother, designed her own concentration of veterinary health engineering and was the recipient of 2 major scholarships in her senior year. She is both a 2018 Truman Scholar and a 2018 Boren Scholar. Paige is currently fulfilling her Truman Fulbright in Washington, D.C. Abby Liemert, a 2018 alumna with a self-designed concentration called Foreign Policy Engineering, received the Marshall Scholarship, the first Marshall Scholarship for Purdue in 25 years. Abby is currently in her 2nd year of the scholarship, studying at King's College in London with her prior year at Edinburgh in Scotland. She has accepted an offer to Yale Law when she returns to the States next fall. So you attorneys in the room, mentorship opportunities. And make no mistake about it, first-class mentorship and intensive advising are still very present today in the IDE and MDE programs, just as many of our IDE alumni here will proudly recall about their days with Dr. Grace and Joanne. Lastly, pioneer and founding head of the School of Engineering Education, Kamyar Haghighi, for whom my headship is named and shared with my predecessor, Kamyar Haghighi Head and Epistemology Professor Emeritus of Engineering Education, David Radcliffe. They both answered the what-if question of what if there was a field of engineering education research to radically rethink the boundaries of engineering education? What if we envision a more inclusive, socially connected, and scholarly engineering education by tackling the big research questions? While there were others asking these questions nationally, it was Dr. Haghighi's drive and leadership with the support of Deans Linda Katehi and Leah Jameson that got the job done. We will hear shortly from Dr. Radcliffe, who will remark on how this already 15-year-old school and doctoral program began under Dr. Haghighi's bold vision and with the help and support of many people in this room and on campus. And I want to recognize also that Dr. Haghighi's wife, Atosa, and daughter, Nina, are here with us today. And I'm thrilled to share with you that we will celebrate our 100th PhD graduate this fall. Our doctoral alumni, who are known worldwide as agents of change, are presently teaching, administering, or writing policies for engineering education. There are quite a few of them in this room or watching online, along with several of our current graduate students. We should mention that our first PhD graduate is here today, and that we are lucky enough to see her every day in E&E, wearing many hats, as they say. Dr. Tamara Moore, a professor in our school, teaches in our first-year engineering program and was recently named the interim director of Inspire. Inspire is our research institute for pre-college engineering research, and Dr. Moore has conducted her research on STEM education. Dr. Moore is also a double alumna as an alumna of our interdisciplinary engineering degree program. In Purdue's persistence of leading, our school and doctoral program are now joined by a rapidly growing group of similar engineering education programs across the country. We are proud that many of our PhD alumni are part of their leadership teams and faculty. It is truly an exciting time for engineering education. So what if our bold and pioneering leaders hadn't answered their calls to leadership? Well, I don't think you and I would be in this room celebrating, that's for sure. We are so fortunate to call ourselves Boilermakers, ever grateful and ever true to have this time together to celebrate our own accomplishments and that of the leaders who helped clear the path and provide a strong foundation for us. And as our community grows, and as we answer the next what-ifs that propel us forward, we look to our students and seek to put them first in all that we do. And today we announced for the first time 2 major endowments that have been fully funded thanks to the generosity of our community. The first-year engineering program has received a newly established $100,000 endowment converted from a previous scholarship fund donated by Dr. Wonkat and his wife, Dorothy. The Philip C. and Dorothy Wonkat First-Year Engineering Endowment will help support the school's first-year engineering students enrolled in the first-of-its-kind engineering program that has served as a model for many engineering schools across the nation. The fund will enable us to continue to ask the what-ifs and the why-nots that allow us to continue to set the pace in engineering education. We're also excited to announce that the Paul Burkheimer Endowment Fund for Academic Advising is now fully endowed, nearly 4 years in the making. Paul was a first-year engineering academic advisor from September 2010 until his passing in August 2015. Paul had a passion for guiding young people along their path of self-discovery and personal and professional development. Faculty, staff, and students of Purdue were deeply touched by Paul's commitment to the development of all people and created an endowment in his honor to further his initiatives. The endowment will support professional opportunities for academic advisors in first-year engineering, thus providing the best possible first-year engineering experience for our students. With that, I would like us to recognize the IDE 487 leadership class, our IDES and MDE students who have helped with behind-the-scenes logistics for this weekend. Are you all around? Raise your hands. IDE 487 people. Anybody in the room? Nobody's? They're still shuttling people. So when you see them, please do thank them. They really have done incredible work, and my staff really appreciates the time that they've put in to make this very memorable for all of you. I also want to recognize Teresa Walker, who's in the back, and Shelby Stinson, who was there checking us in. I don't know if she has walked up or if she's still back there with her baby. She's right there. So thank both of them for all the work. They've been working on this for 18 months. This has been a major initiative for our school, and I'm so appreciative of all the work that's gone into making this weekend such a fantastic event. So with that, I leave you with a short video presentation that celebrates today's significance and the visionary who's behind it. Please enjoy.
So, Kamyar was a dreamer and a doer. I think about his passion, his vision, his ability to inspire. I think about how his laugh could light up a room, and his determination, his strength, his thoughtfulness, his care. He cared deeply and thought deeply about engineering education and Purdue's department, then School of Engineering Education. And he cared deeply about people, about family, colleagues, students, friends. And this shone through in everything that he did. Taking those together, he was the perfect founding head of this new Department of Engineering Education, leading this adventure for Purdue, for Purdue Engineering, for the university, and ultimately, I would say, for the field. And it was an adventure. Think about it. He was bringing into being and leading and shaping the first Department of Engineering Education in the country, in the world, making the bold statement that he could do so well, that engineering education is in its own right an engineering discipline, that it is grounded in education, but also in research and engagement, and that it was not only for university students, but it was for learners from preschool through life. One of the things that I think, to me, best captures this sense of what an adventure, what a revolution this was, is a simple change in language. He would bring together the Purdue E&E community every year, not for a retreat, to plan the future, but for an annual advance. And that language continues, and that language is spreading.
While it wasn't ever part of the plan, I ended up becoming head. And I saw the role there was really to take the vision that Kamyar had and see it through and mature it. Those early years were very stressful for lots of people. A lot was achieved. Without his drive and determination, we would not have become established. But it then needed a period where we were both moving forward, but also consolidating, doing some further hiring, getting people ready for promotion and tenure, the people that he had hired initially. That was almost a sacred trust to carry forward his vision, to see the people that he'd put his faith and trust in develop in their careers and thereby contribute to the evolution, development, maturity, the realization of this vision that he had right at the beginning, before lots of others could even understand what this was or what are you talking about. He could see it. We were all living it. I only knew Kamyar for 6 or 7 years, but I felt like I'd known him forever. We connected on a whole lot of levels, unbelievable vision, but also his tolerance. There was times when he really frustrated me and he knew it, but he was incredibly gracious and forgave me for those moments when I kind of lost my cool, for which I'm profoundly regretful, but I know he didn't really care ultimately. He is a proud Persian, celebrating the Spring Festival every year, which was a special time for him. And I learnt so much from him in a very short time. And it was just a real privilege to be able to follow him in the role and hopefully not let him down in seeing through at least part of the big vision that he had for this place and for this area of research and scholarship.
So I first met Kamyar in Davos, Switzerland in 2008 at the Reese conference. And Kamyar, as I understand he did with so many people, Kamyar was asking what it would take to get me to come to Purdue. And I was then a very happy member of the founding group of Smith College faculty that had founded the first engineering program at a women's college. And I told Kamyar, well, not at this time. However, I have a sabbatical coming up next year. And he said, we would love to have you at Purdue. And so I drove across from Massachusetts to Indiana in the fall of 2009, and I spent a sabbatical at Purdue, which was a lovely time in my life. I got to think deeply about a few projects I was working on. I got to interact with the grad students at Purdue, and it planted a seed where I started thinking about, oh gosh, what if I could do engineering education research at a place like this where I would have faculty colleagues and graduate students that are thinking about the same things I'm thinking about. I never would have thought in 2009, I never would have thought that within 10 years I would be coming to Purdue, let alone as the new head of the School of Engineering Education, and in a headship that was named, in fact, for Kamyar Haghighi. And it is one of the great honors of my life to be able to have taken the mantle, to have inherited this vision from Kamyar, passed down through David, and to be thinking now about what the future of engineering education is.
One of my greatest moments of joy as dean was the naming of the headship in his honor. Thanks to the generosity of the S.D. Bechtel Jr. Foundation and Steve Bechtel, who shared Kamyar's passion for education and for Purdue. It was combined with deep sadness because we knew that he was battling ALS, but it also meant that his passion, his vision, his leadership, his voice would live on. And I still hear that voice.